Cooking with Bunjie. Cooking with Bunjie continues. This episode is all about cooking woodchucks, and if you stay tuned, you're going to see, number one, why I'm cooking woodchucks, and number two, why I'm cooking them here at my mom's place. Well, we're having a beautiful, beautiful summer here in northeastern Pennsylvania. I hope it's pretty where you are too. We've had an awful lot of rain, but one thing I've had a lot of, in addition to the rain, is woodchucks. I've been working on a bunch of food plots. For those of you who've been following Death by Bunjie, either here on YouTube or on the Facebook channel, you probably have seen the updates on the food plots. They're going well, but we've got an awful lot of woodchucks this year. So what I have done is, with my 270, I've been shooting them out of the food plots, and even shot one with a crossbow earlier on, if you haven't seen that one. The reason I'm shooting them is because they're eating all the food plots, and they're leaving ruts and those holes and those mounds in the food plots, and it's making it difficult and dangerous to drive the tractor and the ranger through the field. So it's time to whittle those numbers down. Ordinarily, I would just leave them lay. I don't really have a problem with that, but I thought, as long as we're at it, let's try to cook one of them up and see what happens. Now, I'm standing here in the kitchen in the house where I grew up, and the reason I'm here is because when I told my wife I was going to cook a woodchuck, she said, well, you're not going to do it using my crock pot, and you're also not going to do it in my house. So I'm stuck up here using my mom's kitchenware, my mom's kitchen. We're up here, and I think it'll still be a good time. Now, I want to be clear, this isn't anything fancy. I looked, and there are all kinds of interesting recipes for cooking woodchucks on the internet. I'm not going to be doing any of those. Instead, what we're going to do is simply parboil this woodchuck on the stove. I'm going to parboil it good, and then when it's done, we're going to roll it in salt and pepper and flour, and then we're going to fry it up. The reason I opted to do that first is this will give me about the truest representation of the flavor to see if it's something we like or not. And here is the woodchuck. This is the animal that we're going to be cooking. This is woodchuck number 6 on the year, for those of you who are keeping tabs. Now, the first thing you want to do with these is remove the scent glands. I have taken the scent glands. There's some scent glands on the inside of their forearms, and then on the back hind quarters there's some scent glands. You got to cut those off. The research I did on the internet. Other than that, I just cleaned it like you would a squirrel or a rabbit. Pretty much just cleaned it up, and we're going to throw it in the pot and boil it. Now, while that's boiling, you can watch this video, and Genevieve will explain to you how we went about and collected this little woodchuck.
Well, I was down feeding the chickens, and I heard this bang. So my first thought was, well, that my dad shot something. So then I heard him calling me to get the cell phone too. So we got up here and we got a dead woodchuck.
And about a 100-yard shot. Over there behind Genevieve, you can see where the house is. And over there on the hedgerow there, I got a little bench where I sit and wait for him to come out. And this is another gory one. You don't want to look if you are offended by graphic images, but this one was a pretty good shot with the 270 there, just decapitated the poor little fella. There's a couple other big ones that come into this plot, so we got to get rid of them.
Should we get that one mounted?
All right, the moment of truth on Cooking with Bunjie. This has been, we boiled it for a little while, and then we rolled it in flour, garlic, salt, and pepper, and threw it on a frying pan here, and thanks to my mother, fried it up with some onions. It looks good. It smells kind of interesting. I don't know. So I'm going to give it a little taste test here. Get a little piece here. And see what we got. Is it hot? She's telling me it's going to be hot. So I got a little piece here, and it looks kind of interesting. I don't know if you can see it. We'll zoom in on a piece here. No. That's woodchuck. Alright, I hate to say this, but it tastes like chicken. I'm not kidding. That's what it tastes like. Very good. Actually, I eat this every day. I'm curious to know if there's other recipes that I could cook it with. So, Mom's gonna have some, Genevieve's gonna have some, and we'll go from there, right, Genevieve? Alright, here we go. We're gonna give it a shot. Go ahead, let's give it a try.
second state is number one in my book.